I know that I'm a little bit late to the game on the Stargate Revival update, since the story broke in early November, but I still wanted to talk about it since I'm very disappointed.
We're talking Stargate, it's a crazy trip.
So, to recap the general situation, in case you're not 100% caught up, one of the former Stargate showrunners, Brad Wright, has been working for the past couple of years on a potential revival of the series. This wouldn't be a reboot. The terms reboot and revival sometimes get used interchangeably. A reboot is essentially hitting a reset on an entire story and starting with the basic concept from ground zero, whereas a revival is picking up a story essentially within the same existing universe. There was talk back in 2014 that Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich were working on a reboot of the original Stargate movie, and that would have been hitting reset on the entire story. But Brad was working on a revival of the Stargate franchise, something that would allow us to see some of the same characters again from the original series, while also introducing new characters and a new storyline to carry the universe forward. MGM, the company who owns Stargate, hired Brad to write a pilot script. And according to Joseph Malazzi, another former Stargate showrunner, this project had progressed to the point of 5 out of 7 chevrons, which is so close. Of course, COVID was a problem, just slowing everything down in getting MGM to greenlight the project. And then, in the midst of all this, Amazon bought MGM. And everything changed. That brings us to now. On November 1st, Brad replied to a fan's tweet asking about the revival. Thanks, but you won't hear news from me. MGM did hire me to write a pilot for a new show, but that was just before COVID hit. Timing couldn't have been much worse. All the players have changed in the interim, so it's likely destined to gather dust. Would have been fun, though. Well, that's not what I wanted to hear.
For crying out loud!
Confusingly, the previous day, on October 31st, he responded to a different fan tweet by saying this. MGM/Amazon will make another Stargate. It may just take some time for them to decide what they want to do, but they own it. Not me. It's a little unclear, but without further clarification from Brad, we can basically only make assumptions at this point. It doesn't sound like Amazon has explicitly told him no. It just sounds like they're no longer picking up the phone. MGM was interested in bringing Stargate back, and really, over the past decade, reboots, revivals, and adaptations have been the name of the game in Hollywood. Star Wars launched a new trilogy. Gilmore Girls came back to finish out the series with the original creator's vision, kind of. I mean, even Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers and Muppet Babies came back. So the question becomes, is there anything that we, the fans, can do? Yes and no. From a big picture perspective, no, we're not Amazon executives. We can't make them bring Stargate back. We can't control minds, at least until I learn witchcraft. But here's the thing. Reboots, revivals, and adaptations are popular because those are existing franchises with a built-in audience and are therefore more likely to make money. That is what drives studios, networks, and streaming services. Will this thing make money? And if the answer is yes, then they will likely create that thing. My biggest fear is that Amazon would decide to make a new Stargate series, but they wouldn't involve any of the original writers or showrunners, and would create something with the Stargate name to draw in the existing fans, but it would be thematically and structurally geared towards new audiences, so it would be something that's technically Stargate, but not spiritually Stargate. Which brings us to a tweet from Brad Wright on November 4th. Trending again. I appreciate the people here who are saying they only want a new Stargate series if I'm involved, but I believe the franchise should return with or without me. And either way, I look forward to it. So, looking at this theoretically, it may seem like we need to keep talking about Stargate. We need to just keep tweeting about it. We need to keep the name and the interest out there. However, it is kind of exhausting to keep loudly proclaiming, I love this thing, please take my money, in the hopes that Amazon will hear it. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. There's a reply to Brad's tweet asking how we, the fans, can potentially reach Amazon and let them know about our interest. And Gateworld, which is pretty much the Stargate news site, replied to the message. I'm sorry to say that our fan community has been conveying this en masse to MGM and now Amazon for the past 4 years. Tweet storms, petitions, articles, and videos, the hashtag 365 Days of Stargate campaign. The studios have never given any indication that they see us or care. They're not wrong. Honestly, I do think that online chatter plays a role when a potential series is being considered, and executives may be trying to gauge the existing audience numbers. But I do think that right now, the biggest metric that would catch Amazon's attention would be watch time. Currently, Stargate SG-1 and Atlantis and Universe are all on Amazon Prime. And if Amazon's internal metrics show something crazy, like, wow, Stargate SG-1 is getting more watch hours per episode than Rings of Power, then Amazon is going to take notice. The Stargate fandom is still active, but I just don't know if it's big enough to accomplish something like that. I mean, it feels big to me because I know where to look, but Stargate has never really had the broader pop culture status of Star Wars or Star Trek.
Of the 4 Star franchises, Wars, Trek, Gate, and Search, Gate is easily my 3rd favorite.
I get that a lot.
If I wear a shirt that says live long and prosper, people know to do like this hand thingy.
Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise.
If I wear a Darth Vader shirt, everyone knows who that is.
My name's not Kirk. It's Skywalker.
If I wear a shirt with the Earth glyph, people will be confused.
What's a Stargate?
It's what this is and the 4th best Kurt Russell movie.
If there was ever a time for a legitimately good Stargate revival, that time would pretty much have to be now. Brad Wright still seems committed to potentially following through on his pilot script if the opportunity becomes available, and much of the original cast has expressed interest in coming back in some capacity. I mean, a lot of them have even done those Stargate AI script readings with the companion.
Well, I guess I'm Daniel Jackson. If you've never heard of me, you should probably study.
I like the way Daniel Jackson keeps announcing himself as Daniel Jackson.
But that's because he did a lot.
I know.
But eventually, these people will retire, and Brad might get a new project that takes up the bulk of his time. So, pull up SG-1 on Amazon Prime and just let it play all day and all night. And while you're out running errands, make all of your friends watch Stargate, or start dating new people with the specific intent of showing them Stargate, and then get to a point where they refuse to watch SG-1 seasons 1 through 8 with you because supposedly you love Richard Dean Anderson too much. For me, until we're told a hard and definitive no on the current option of a Stargate revival, I'm going to at least just continue to hope that it's still possible.
Do you ever give up? Not until I'm dead.
And sometimes not even then.